of this is planned. I don't plan any of this. These are just my words coming from my face hole. Hello everybody and welcome to this week's book release roundup. This week we have a crop of interesting books. We have, I think, a sci-fi and at least a fantasy and then a funky kind of art book. Okay, shall we? Do you want to start? Should we start? The year is 2790 AD. And this is the Second Cold War. With space elevators and giant orbital fleets hovering over Earth, open war looks inevitable. And people are anxious to get away. The lines are drawn, with the Communist Confederacy in the East and the free citizens of the First World Alliance in the West. In hopes of finding a refuge from the looming war, the Alliance is sending Captain Alexander de Leon to explore Earth-type planet codenamed Wonderland. But at the last minute before launch, a Confederate fleet leaves orbit on a trajectory that threatens both the mission and Alliance sovereignty. The resulting power struggle will determine not only the fate of Alexander's mission, but the fate of the entire human race. I feel like I haven't chosen a sci-fi book in a while, so this one kind of stuck out to me. I like the cover. It's pretty interesting. There's a few things that, like, one main thing that stands out to me is the fact that it's the Second Cold War in 2790. Call me a pessimist, but I'd like to think that in the year 2790, there wouldn't be like the notion of a Cold War, the notion of communism, the notion of all this shit. Like, the broad ideology that is communism, like the fundamental ideas, not the name, would definitely survive. People are always going to come up with the same things. Given enough time, people are going to come up with the same ideas. So that part doesn't surprise me. But the fact that labeling it the Second Cold War, like, it's 2790. It's a long time. I think they would have called it something else. Like, there would be a much better name for that than the Second Cold War. Yuko Shimizu is a Japanese illustrator based in New York, where she teaches at the School of Visual Arts. Owing to her immense talent and the success of her work, in 2009, Newsweek Japan selected Yuko as one of the 100 Japanese people the art, design, illustration, fashion, gift world respects. So this one, there's not much for me to talk about. If you're a fan of Japanese art styles, this is your book, because this woman has some pretty crazy illustrations in it. So Betrayer of Blood is another sequel, so you know what that means. We're going to go back and read the description from the first book. An ancient evil has awakened in Earthrealm. The dead are rising, the oracles have fallen silent, and foul creatures are devastating the baselands. When the dark sorcerer, Rathnakar, escapes his tomb, the First Mother chooses 3 champions to become the saviors of their time. A hopeful adherent, Adis, wants nothing more than to lead a life of solitary devotion within the sheltered walls of a seclusionary. But when her pilgrimage to a sacred grove ends in a vision of the end of the world, she realizes that Mother requires a more dangerous service from her. Seeking the catalysts, prophecy says she can overcome chaos. She aligns herself with a notorious traitor, Auric of Crode, and Geverol, a dryad mage who has yet to tame his powers. Together, can the 3 unlikely heroes thwart Rathnakar and the wave of darkness threatening to devour the world? So, to be honest, the cover for this book really caught me off guard. I mean, that picture of that dude with the sword, like the knight with the sword, that is just so dope that it really caught my eye. So, big fantasy fan. So this, I like what I'm hearing so far with this series. For his whole life, the boy has lived underground, in a basement with his parents, grandmother, sister, and brother. Before he was born, his family was disfigured by a fire. His sister wears a white mask to cover her burns. He spends his hours with his cactus, reading his book on insects or touching the one ray of sunlight that filters in through the crack in the ceiling. Ever since his sister had a baby, everyone's been acting very strangely. The boy begins to wonder why they never say who the father is, about what happened before his own birth, about why they're shut away. A few days ago, some fireflies arrived in the basement. His grandma said, "There's no creature more amazing than one that can make its own light." That light makes the boy want to escape, to know the outside world. Problem is, all the doors are locked, and he doesn't know how to get out. Wow, doesn't this sound terrifying and amazing all at the same time? Like, from a story perspective, oh my god, like, being stuck in a room, like, that's all you know is living inside of this room. You feel like you're trapped most of this story probably in this room. And there seems to be a lot of questions to answer, and just a very interesting perspective to get from this kid who has never seen the outside world, but he studies about things in the outside world. I can't even imagine what that would feel like. So this is definitely something that I'm going to be looking forward to. So that's all the books I have for this week. As always, links to the books are down in the description. Like and subscribe. That's always good. It makes me a happy camper. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.